Hello and welcome to Synder Tutorials. In this video, you'll learn how to reconcile your revenue recognition transactions in QuickBooks Online, so stay tuned. First, before you start reconciling, you want to make sure that for the months you're going to reconcile, everything is synced to QuickBooks. So in Platform Transactions list, you can filter transactions by their status like that. Select everything except for synced, skipped, and synced with warnings. Apply that filter and you'll see if there's anything that's not synced yet. If you see such transactions, you can select them in bulk, click Actions, and Sync. In my case, everything is synced, so I'm good here. Now, my RevRec start date is January 1st, 2023, so I want to reconcile my revenue for January, February, and so on. In order to do this, I go to the Revenue Recognition Overview report here, and I make sure I've selected the right time frame, and I include or exclude open invoices, depending on how my account is set up. If you sync open invoices over to your books and you do recognize them, you have to enable it. And in my case, it is so. So I enable this toggle and click Apply. And now I see the numbers here, including all my open invoices, meaning I'm good here. Overview report will show you all the subscriptions and related money movement. So the first three columns reflect money movement within the deferred revenue, and the other three columns show money movement within the recognized revenue. So, how do I reconcile? My incoming deferred revenue will be the sum of all my invoices and refunds from Stripe. So that's my new revenue that comes from my connection platform, which is Stripe. So this number can be reconciled against Stripe data to make sure all the invoices were recognized. What is important though is the fact that this number will include only invoices that are being recognized. So one-time invoices in Stripe won't be recognized, therefore won't be included into this report. Then the new recognized revenue column represents whatever was recognized for the months of January 2023, so that should be in my profit and loss. And deferred revenue ending balance is the column that represents my deferred revenue ending balance in QuickBooks, so I want to reconcile my deferred revenue in the balance sheet against this number. Now let's start reconciling with my new recognized revenue. I will pull up my profit and loss reports and make sure I set the right date here. And I also run it by months to make it easier to reconcile. So now I have my profit and loss displayed like this, and I can start reconciling. For simplicity, I only use two income categories to track all my recurring income for subscriptions. So I have 8774.44 for January here, and it should be equal to my overuse new recognized revenue in Synder. So 8774.44 for January. So these numbers match up and they reconciled. Then we can check some further months as well, February, March, and so on. And the numbers are the same in the profit and loss and here in the overview. So we're good. There may be more complicated cases when you have multiple columns here, or you have discounts. For example, in some months I have revenue recognition discounts, so you can also see them right away in QuickBooks, and QuickBooks will be taking them into account in this report. Also, if you have open invoices, you may have something on the bad debts account, so you will also need to subtract this bad debts amount from that month's income to make sure it ties out to the recognized revenue. So this is one way to do this against all your profit and loss categories. Another way to do this would be to go to your balance sheet, run it by months, and you'll see the deferred revenue amount month by month. So you can click into your deferred revenue, and here you'll have some journal entries, some invoices, refunds, or credit memos. So you can export it to Excel and sum up only the journal entries themselves. If you have income in multiple categories, it may be easier for you to just reconcile the journal entries from your deferred revenue this way. So I'll open up this downloaded file and sum up journal entries. We can get rid of these rows at the top, and then we create a filter. So I'm going to filter out only journal entries, and that's the amount I got here. The sum of all those journal entries is also 8774.44, and I can see it matches my overview, so I know my revenue is reconciled. In order to reconcile my deferred revenue ending balance, I will need to do a similar thing in my balance sheet. So that's my ending balance of my deferred revenue in Synder, and I should have the same 42,000 amount for that month on the deferred revenue account in the balance sheet, and this is matching up. And the numbers for other months are also matching up between QuickBooks and Synder. And later on, I may go to my chart of accounts and reconcile my deferred revenue account against this number. So the ending balance is our deferred deferred revenue ending balance amount in Synder's overview for January. So I'm copying this amount, and the date is 31st of January. So now we have this 42,000 difference here, and when I select all transactions, it zeroes out. So we're good here too. So that's how you reconcile your deferred revenue account in the books. In case something is not matching up on your deferred revenue, first of all, you'll have to make sure that your new recognized revenue is fine. So you can click on this amount in Synder's overview and download a recognized revenue detailed report. It will give you byline details so that it could be compared to QuickBooks byline report. Once downloaded, it will be sent to your inbox, and there you'll be able to see exact amounts that were recognized, and you'll be able to match it up with your profit and loss details from here. Also, you can do a similar thing with the incoming deferred revenue number. So you can click into it and download a detailed transaction report, which also will be sent to your inbox. And here's what you'll see inside. And then you can run the same report from the deferred revenue account in your balance sheet that we opened earlier. So here in the balance sheet, I will click on the January amount for the deferred revenue, and I will download a report here. Then I open up this file. I'll also get rid of those top rows. And now I will filter the transactions so I could see everything except for journal entries. And this way you can compare the two to make sure they reconciled. So in my case, this amount matches perfectly my incoming deferred revenue, so I am good here. Now you know how to reconcile revenue recognition transactions in QuickBooks. Go ahead and check it out to automate your bookkeeping even more, and for any additional help, just apply to us via chat, phone, or email, as we're available 24/7. Have a good journey with Synder.